Hello, I'm Mike Belcher, HP's Director of EdTech Innovation, and thank you for joining another session in our learning continuity planning. We're going to talk a little bit about, in the next few minutes, some of the resources that are available for K-12 teachers and students as you begin to spin up your virtual teaching courses. And so we thought sharing some of this information might be really helpful. So we're going to share a little bit here with you. And as we think about, again, this idea of learning and instructional continuity, how do we ensure that we're preparing content, not just ourselves as teachers and instructors, but also self-directed sort of resources? So we're going to talk a little bit about some of those tools that are available as we prepare for what this new normal begins to look like. So some of these resources we think are very, very helpful. We can't necessarily recommend these, but these are things that we think are interesting and are worth exploring. And so we're going to jump right into some of this content. We've been compiling based on requests from our customers, both K-12 and high ed. What are some of those best resources? Who in our partner group have some of the most interesting tools that would be helpful as you go through this process? And if you are interested in gaining access to this evergreen list, please email me, mike.belcher@hp.com, and we'll send you that evergreen list. It's something that we keep updating. I updated it again today with some new resources, and we're going to be sharing some of those with you. So let's go ahead and jump into a couple of these pieces. So when you email me, we'll send you over this link. This will be the link that you gain access to, is this spreadsheet, basically, of both K-12 and high ed resources. I'm just going to touch on a few of these that we think are going to be important as you go forward. One of those that we've received a lot of questions on right now, especially as students are getting Chromebooks that they're taking home for the first time, is how do I print from a Chromebook? And so our print team has developed, in conjunction with Google, an HP Print for Chrome extension. And so from this link, it gives you exactly step-by-step what you need to do. You will need to ensure that this is all right and you have rights to actually install this extension, or you can contact your IT department to ensure that they do enable this print functionality for your students. And so by installing this extension, it resides then on the Chromebook, and you are then able to print locally from that Chromebook. So kind of a cool tool. A lot of folks starting to ask these questions, particularly as we're starting to spool up getting devices in the hands of students. So great resource for you. Some other tools that we think are very important and could be interesting for your use will be tools like web conferencing services. And so Microsoft through Teams makes some great resources available. Google with their Hangouts tool, Zoom, which is something that's gaining a lot of popularity right now. In fact, they're making that available free for schools right now. I see a lot of folks using that. I'm actually recording in Zoom right now. So you can do one-off recordings, whether you have more than one person in that room or not. You can still do recording, so it's a nice vehicle for teachers to use. Some other things that we think are valuable as well are things like a full-blown curriculum like CK12. If you haven't heard of CK12 before, this is a really great set of resources that they have made available for any school to participate in and gain access to at no additional cost. Science, math, social studies, photography, and they're also adding some English language arts resources, and are just in the process of getting those all enabled as well. You can actually start up and create classes inside of this. They have dashboards. They have different subject areas, so you get an idea of all the different content that's here. And then by grade level, you have standards aligned resources based on your state standards as well as national standards. There's some AP courses here as well, different translations and languages. So if you're struggling to find content curriculum to make available either on the web or to print out this may be a really great resource to explore with your curriculum instructional group. So ck12.org is that piece. There's some other really interesting solutions as well. Microsoft is making their Minecraft curriculum available. Link is here as well. Lots of students, particularly in elementary grade levels, incredibly interested, and there's some great linkages between learning how to create inside of the game as well as how it aligns to different curriculum areas. As far as one of the best places I think to go to look for where are there some terrific content is a great partner of HP's, Digital Promise. And digitalpromise.org is a not-for-profit. If you're not aware of them, they have all sorts of terrific resources. They'll actually be creating a training for teachers that will be coming out on the 21st of April. That is with one of the Spotlight schools, middle school actually out of Idaho, who will be taking you through their approach towards virtual learning. What strategies do they use? What tools do they use? And they also have pulled together some really terrific learning resources. And one of the reasons I really like this content as a place to go to explore is that there are links here that tell you which one of these pieces of content doesn't require a student account. So you don't have to create an account, remember logins and those sort of things. Which of these content providers have signed the Student Privacy Pledge signatory from the Software Institute of America. They break it apart by the types of different tools that they recommend, by grade levels, etc. So for example, if I wanted to make sure, boy, I don't want to use any tools that aren't already signed off, that those particular companies that are providing these tools won't use students' personally identifiable information, I can checkbox on that student privacy pledge, and then only those resources begin to show. And then I can start to break down what is it that I'm really looking for. Am I looking for learning games? Am I looking for interactive learning tools? Maybe that's what I'm looking for. And then I can break that down even further by grade levels. And what I'm looking for, maybe I'll go 9 by 12 here. I can go then down to subject level, maybe it's math, and then it keeps breaking down all of those resources for me as an instructor so that I absolutely know what are those best in class sort of resources. If you notice, CK12 is one of those that they recommend as well, including things like Brain Pop, etc. And you can also click here, which I thought was really an interesting thing. What is free during this school closure environment? What's always free, or what's just a limited trial, right? And so if I clicked on always free, there's 5 sort of resources that they recommend, right? And these are really terrific resources. CK12, we recommended Desmos, which has a really terrific online calculator, graphing calculator, Khan, who almost everyone knows, etc. So terrific place to go to really narrow down what are some of those really good online learning resources. So Digital Promise is one of those places that we think is worth exploring. If you haven't looked as well at online learning resources for teachers to learn different skills in teaching virtually, we also have a few components here that will be helpful, we believe, as you go forward. First off, there are great resources from Microsoft, from Google around their solutions. COSIN has a terrific Take Teaching Online document to kind of help in that process. CETA, the State EdTech Directors Association, does as well. And then this is one that I wanted to show, which is Get Educated's teaching online component. There's 10 different highly recommended resources that are here. Even though they are higher ed institutions that are delivering this, we really like this for the thought behind each one of these components and helping you plan out what it's going to take to deliver a virtual course. So great online learning, something that you can recommend to your faculty if you like this, and as a place for them to go learn on their own, right? Or to learn new topics, etc. So Get Educated's top 10 free training courses online is another one of those key pieces. We have lots of resources here. I won't be able to go over all of these today, but wanted to make sure you had an idea of how this works, how this tool works. And if there are interest in learning more about this, please leverage myself. I'd be happy to email you this link to these online resources. Again, my email is mike.belcher@hp.com. Great luck to you in this new normal and as you build out your learning and instructional continuity plans. Thank you.